Yo, what's up? This is John from Jay's Innovation Girls in the peach capital of the state, baby. Boys and girls, it's hotter than what's Bill say? It's hotter than Cooter Brown. It's something. It's something. Ooh. Ah. Yeah, I already had to open it, which really sucks, but I had to open it and make sure it wasn't damaged. But let me show you what we got going on. Bam! That's a big old box. Every man needs a tractor. Every man needs a tractor. That's my 3032E. I built that. Actually, I found these forks. I found these forks at a salvage, right? And then I built the mass, so I got for the loader. But yeah, boy. I'm gonna let a few people get in here, Chris. Like I said, I had to open this. To get this fan. Ooh, man, it's already hot, man. But it is what it is. Right? I tell you what, it's hot. I gotta get this fan over here. Set this up right here. We're gonna do this unboxing. Man, them things pull a lot of heat. But I'm going to change jobs. What's up? Just got this box off the truck. Big old box. Hey, Square Body, what's up? What's up, Ray? Hey, Square Body, I hated to keep you on the phone so long last night, man. I'm long-winded like a billy goat. But you're changing jobs. What are you doing now? Hell, you was driving a truck and you was working at night welding. What are you gonna do now? I'm going to. Well, that's what you was already doing. Square Body, did you get? Woo. Boy, I tell you what. Let me show y'all something. Boy, that breeze coming right there, boy, good. Hey, Square Body, did you get your hoses done last night? That's the question. Did you get your hoses full time? Well, that's good, Ray. If that job is going to help you. What's up, Metal Art? I don't know if that fan's too loud for y'all. I stand there. Tell you, we got this unboxing. All the way from Pennsylvania. All the way from Patterson's Wrecking Yard. Yep, all the way from Pennsylvania. From PA. So, yep. So we're gonna let about 10-minute mark. Woo. Man, when it got here, the truck driver brought it. We got it unloaded, and then I got it down here to the shop. I said, man, I gotta open this up before you leave to make sure everything's good. He said, yeah, I understand. And I'm thinking to myself, I said, man, there's no way there's 6 seats in that box. Yeah, did you get your hoses fixed? I said, there's no way there's 6 seats in that box. He said, you'd be surprised. And he said, man, they stuff all kinds of shit. So that worked out great. So I didn't want to tear the box up. And the reason why I didn't want to tear the box up is because I got to ship all my son's interior to Texas. So I already got a box. So they ship by weight. So if I can put the door panel, I mean, I don't know. We'll just have to see. But okay, good deal. I didn't want to tear the box up because you might need it. You know what I mean? Because if he decides to, I'm trying to talk him into going with one of Mike Losh's slosh tub seats, the bucket seats with the console. And the reason why I'm telling him that is because we got that blow through. We got to have that blow through come through, right? But if he wants to keep the bench seat, then I take this bench seat and I can put it in that with the door panels, the headliner, and all that. But nevertheless, so we're gonna go about 2 more minutes. Everybody that's tapping in, and then we're gonna unbox this stuff, and I'm gonna show y'all. Yeah, buddy buckets would be nice in there. Yeah, I do all my stuff with slosh tubs. So, woo, let me get my Weebles. Mike grown a lot. You have, yeah, dude, that is an understatement. Mike and Sarah, they are banana crazy, man. They, see, Pedro, okay, so, all right, so here's the thing. Paul Gomez is the son of Pedro. Pedro is the one that does all of Mike Losh's stuff. So, yeah, they are crazy. I mean, they that's what I told him. I told my boy, I said, man, we need to put these slosh tub buckets in here. And we can get, you know, we can do all kinds of stuff. You know, we can do all kind of, for 12 years now with me. Yeah, so, I mean, it's a good seat. I mean, I ain't going to get rid of it. I mean, other than, you know, it's factory. But I put it in a furniture bag with a bag full of damn mothballs and put it in storage. But yeah, so we're gonna give it about 30 more seconds, and then we're gonna unbox this box. I did get the Greenbrier Special cleaned up last night. I did get her cleaned up. You know, I don't know, maybe what's up, Metal Art? What's up, Carolina? What's up, everybody? So the plan today is to unbox this, and I might do a little bit of sanding on this. I think I'm just gonna work on my own stuff, or not my stuff, my kit, I'm gonna work on personal stuff this week. All right, we're at the 10-minute mark. You boys and girls ready? If y'all ready, give me a thumbs up, and we're gonna pop the top on this thing. Y'all let me know if you're ready. Let me know you're ready. Let me know you're ready. We're gonna open this up. Metal Art's ready. Who else is ready? John Lewis. We're in Texas. John Lewis, hit that subscribe button if you're new to the channel, my man. We're in Texas. We're in North Carolina. We're in the peach capital of the state, baby. Show us the diamonds. All right, boys and girls. Woo, woo. Tulu, you got here right in time, big dog. All right, boys and girls. I'm gonna have to turn this fan off. Y'all gonna have to bear with me, so I'm gonna turn this fan off. Jenga. I'm gonna turn the fan off, and then I'm gonna set the camera up, and then we're gonna start taking these things out of the box. Tell you what, I'm gonna take the tractor and move this box back so I can set them on the floor. Cold start. No, 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 no. No. Paul Gomez is in Texas. We're sending all the interior. We're sending all the interior out of this truck to Paul Gomez in Texas to do the interior. All right, boys and girls. Here's seat number 1. All right, let me set this down. Ooh. Y'all better stop playing. Woo, woo. There's seat number 1. Get some of that chocolate love. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right, that's 1. We got 6 more to get out of this summer gun. Y'all stand by. Y'all hang tight. Here we go. Man, it's hot, boy. Come on, big girl. Who your daddy? I'm just gonna get them all out and then I'm gonna show them to you, okay? Well, we're waiting on to tear the box up, but y'all just hang tight. I got 1 more. All right, hold tight. Ooh. Ooh. I dropped my sweat rag, Cuddy. Uh. Huh. I dropped my sweat rag. So this right here is 2013. Well, tell me how to open that son of a gun. It said, do I pull this right here? It says I pull that. What do I do? Pull and push down? Ooh. Huh. Look, they even sent me a damn. Now the only seat that's got a little bit of something going on right there, but I think we're good. Just put it on the side until it. All right, okay. Sounds good to me, big dog. All right, we're gonna have to all right, let's see. All right, let's figure this out. Front seat. Yeah. Front seat, driver seat, passenger seat. That's got to be the seat that goes to that, and then that's the third row. I think that is that the way it is? The way it is. Damn telemarketer. Damn telemarketer got through. So metal art is those are the two front seats. I take it that's the seat that goes to that, and then that's the back seat, right? That's what it looks like to me. All right, so let's do something. Let's do something. Let's see. Yeah, let me. Let's do something right quick. Y'all hang tight. Y'all just hang with me for just a minute. Hang with me just a minute. Ooh. Next week's gonna be a fun week, boys and girls. Next week's gonna be a fun week. There's where that place is right there. 1973 Old Highway, Cochranton, Pennsylvania. So that seat and that seat is gonna be right there. And then that seat right there is gonna be right there. And then that's the front two seats. Huh? What you know about that, Bo? What you know about that, Bo? Let's see if I can set the... Damn, it must got an overcast. Let me set them other seats in there and see what we're looking like. They didn't know about that, Bo. I gotta turn this camera around. Hold on. I got sweat drops on it. Hold on. Hold on. There we go. They didn't know about that, Bo. How you doing out there, Bo? Huh? Talking about, huh? Come on now. We didn't know about that, Bo. I'm all right. Woo, this is what I love right here. The fabrication part. Boy, you know about rolling in the deep. Yeah, they're power. Yeah, they're out of 2013 Ford Explorer. I gotta figure out how to get. Y'all hang tight, hang tight. Once I figure out how to open that son's a gun. Oh yeah. Let me turn this off. Turn it off. Turn it off. All right, so this seat right here is going to be about right here. I'm going to build a bracket, hold this seat right there. And then we were going to, that seat right there is going to be somewhere right in there where it's still open right there. And then I got some 1-inch tubing. I got 6 tubes or 6 sticks on 1-inch tubing, 1/8 inch well ordered. It's supposed to be here this week. And then I will build the whole skeleton out of square tubing. This seat right here is going to be right here, right? Have enough room pulled out where you can adjust it, you know, whatever. And then you got the console right there. And then this seat right here, this one gonna be a little tricky, like a little tricky. See, there's the motor stuff. That's all right. So this I have to come out just a little bit. Wonder if you gotta put, hey, well, I don't know, 84. They were out of the vehicle and they sent me a video of it working. But this should not have to have power on it, I wouldn't expect, because this is where you pick it up to lay it down. Here's the headrest. I don't know, I'll have to do some research on it. But I think this is going to be a good fit. I mean, I think it really is going to be a good fit. There's not going to be much walk room in here, but I mean, that's not what it's about, you know what I mean? So there's no lever. That's all the electric motor. I don't see that. I don't know what that is, but see this right here. See, like in, you know, in my Chevrolet truck, you pull this right here and the seat unlocks. But it might be in a bind. I don't know. But all of them are power, and they all still got the airbags in them. They still got the airbags in them, which is great. I didn't get the seat belts because I told Cuddy, I told you wrong. I got this part of the seat belt. I didn't get the part that pulls down. And the reason why is because the truck was the truck was wrecked, so all the airbags deployed. But the airbags in the seat didn't deploy, so that's even better. So I'm gonna have to disable them and go from there. So there's all the wiring and stuff. I'll have to de-pin all that stuff, but nevertheless, I have the VIN number right there, so I can get the wiring diagram from my buddy at Ford, and then I'll know what they are. But that's the wheel on the bus goes round and round. Push the seat down and pull it. You might, yeah, that's what I'm thinking, Better Art. I just got to get rough with it, like I did last night, making that buttermilk. Come on, don't do it, don't do it. But fellas, I think that's gonna be great. Like Kellogg's Flakes. That's gonna be great. Yeah, but make it where these seats are adjustable. Oh, the seat belts will be. Oh yeah. There's a company that there's an aftermarket company that makes seat belts that are airbag and got the CO2 cartridge in them. So I mean, that is the least of my worries. You know, let me tell you what my biggest worry is. Well, not my biggest worry. My biggest concern is the steering column. So I've been working with I Did It for the last few days, and I've took them pictures and whatever. So this power steering rack is right here. So we're trying to figure out if we get a column, like an old roadster column that's tilt, that comes straight down like that, but it's actually tilt here. Then I can go down there with a 90 degree gearbox to bring it back so I can go to the rack and pinion. So the steering is my biggest concern right now. That is my that is my biggest concern right now. Is that. But man, how cool is that, man? And then that filled up a lot of real estate, and then we'll do the rest of the interior the same way. But yeah, like I said, guys, put your weed up. SWAT truck's about ready. Yeah, so that's where we're at on that. Well, I didn't tear the box up too bad, but you can always make a... Yeah, I do a lot of work with I Did It, and they've made some wild shit for us before at Petty's, so I'm confident we'll figure it out. It's just we got to get there, you know what I mean? The brakes and all that stuff, I'm not really worried about that. Because, see, I really would like to have a shifter. I really would like to have a column with the shifter in it, with a 4-speed shifter, automatic. If not, then I'm going to have to use either this right here. This is out of the Mustang. Have to use that right there, or get one from Le Car and build something. So the steering column and the shifter is like my biggest concern right now. Rest of it is like putting a puzzle together like Lincoln Logs. So the guy that owns this, he's about my height, maybe a little bit. He's probably my height, and he's probably about 75 pounds heavier, plus or minus, you know, 50 pounds heavier, whatever. So the thing about it is, when we build the frame, when we build the skeleton, when I build the frame for the seats and have it bolted down to the floor with Fisher plates, then I can make tabs on there to grab the seat belts whenever we can buy the seat belts. But see, these right here, this has got the lap belt in this one. See, that one's got the seat belt. That one over there don't. So it's okay. It all work out. We'll all figure it out. But yeah, I'm excited. The truck driver wasn't supposed to be here between 1 and 5, and he rolled up this morning at 8:30. So that's even better. So that frees me up the rest of the day. So yeah, I like that brown. I like that brown. Now, like I say, them front seats has got a little bit of wear on them, but I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm gonna be straight up with you. They wanted like $400 for one seat, like $380. I don't know. I had to go back and look at my. It was like $350, $300. It was like $400 for one seat. So you got one, two. You got one, and then the bench seat, and then that. So I made them an offer. You know, I made them an offer. I'm painting it teal. This is going to be a mint green, and this is going to be white. I'm going to do pastel colors. Appreciate it, Elko. The problem of it, 84, is the rack and pinion is so far back. See, this thing had a gear, the original chassis had a gearbox on the very front, right? It had reverse steering, right? So the original chassis had the gearbox way up front, and then the drag link bar went backwards, and then it worked it this way. It was reversed. So now I've put power steering on it on this new chassis, and the rack and pinion's here. So there's a couple options. We can build a column to whatever, or I can change and put a reverse mount rack and pinion. I looked at electric steering, LaCar kind of pushed me away from that because they said that they don't support that, and there's a lot of problems with electric steering. A lot of guys are taking the steering out of little Toyota Priuses and making them work, but then you got modules, and then when stuff goes bad, you know, so if I can keep it mechanical, I'm okay with it. I don't want to do no kind of electric steer or anything like that, because I know they're doing them on the C10s and stuff. I know Jason Vanetti just done one. I think Eaton out of Florida is the one that's making the kits for electric steering for square bodies and for C10s and for F100 trucks. So basically that's what this is it's a F100 chassis design off of that. So with a Mustang 2 front end. So I just don't want to do electric steering. It's just one more thing to go out. Because if it's power steering, even you can still do it. And go from there. Yeah, so it's going to be, this will be teal or mint green. The top will be white. This will be white. This will be white. This will be white. And the nose will be white. And then everything else will be body color. I ordered that tool to measure the wheels. I think we're going to run 18s. I was thinking about running 20s in the back and 18s in the front. But then, I don't know. Probably do an 18, so have a good set of tire. That's my thought. If you lose power, yeah, it's all right. So let me tell you about this. In my black truck, my Silverado, it has electric over hydraulic, or electric assist. All right, I gotta turn this fan on, fellas. It has electric assist steering. All right, so it does have power steering, but it also has electric assist. So that means that it's helping it, right? So I go to turn into like Harbor Freight or something. Ooh, that feels good, boys. I turn in like the Harbor Freight. I think it was Harbor Freight. And I go to turn right, and the steering just locked. I mean, just locked. And I jumped, this is before I lowered my truck. And I jumped the street curb and got into the parking lot, and the truck was just like turning to the right. Not full tilt, maybe like 1 or 2 o'clock, right? Well, when I jumped the curb and was in the parking lot, the Asheboro PD was right there at the coffee shop or whatever, the car wash. And they come over there and they lit me up, right? And he says, he gets out, and it has a manual. Okay, so I'll tell you. Hold on. Okay. So the cop come over there and he said, "Man, you all right?" I said, "Yeah, I'm good." He said, "You got license, registration?" And I said, "Yeah." He said, "You mind if I see him?" And I said, "We can handle this 2 ways, buddy." And he says, "Come again?" I said, "We can handle this 2 ways." He said, "What's that?" I said, "Did I commit a crime?" He said, "Are you serious right now?" I said, "Yeah." "Did I commit a crime?" He's like, "No, but you jumped that curb." I said, "And is that a crime?" He said, "No, ma'am. No, man, it's not a crime. But it is careless and reckless." I said, "Yeah, that's a misdemeanor. That's not a crime. I mean, that's a driving infraction. That's not careless and reckless." And he's like, "Dude, really?" I said, "No, I'm just messing with you, man. Let me get my..." He said, "What?" I said, "I'm just messing with you." I said, "Let me get my license and registration." And he just looked over at me and he's like, shook his head. And then another PD got up, and I handed him my license and registration. He said, "Man, you good?" I said, "Yeah, I'm good." He said, we talked for a few minutes. We just bullshit, chewed the fat. And I said, I give him my driver's license. I give him my class 3 license. I told him, I was, if I got, and hey, so I appreciate it. He said, "Where you headed?" I said, "I was headed to Harbor Freight." And he said, "You missed that turn a little bit, didn't you?" I said, "I didn't miss it. The damn truck missed it." He's like, "What do you mean?" I said, "My steering wheel's locked up." And he said, What do you mean your steering wheel's locked up?" I said, "It's locked. The truck was still running. It was just sitting there still running. I never turned it off." I said, "You can't turn the wheel." And he said, "Can I open the door?" I said, "Yeah, man, open the door." Fine. He opened the door, and he grabbed it, and the steering wheel was locked like at 2 o'clock. So my wheels was like turned like at 2. And he goes, what the hell? And I was like, that's what I'm saying, man. I said, I was driving, and I give my turn signal to turn right, and I started to gradually turn to get in the turning lane to get off at Harbor Freight, and the wheel just jerked and locked. So I did the only thing I knew to do, jump the fucking curb, and pulled in the parking lot. And he said, man, that's some good defensive driving. I said, oh, yeah. I said, I'd throw this bitch in park, man. And he said, do what? I said, I'd throw this son of a gun in park. He's like, what do you think's wrong with it? I said, I don't know. I said, I ain't got a clue. So I looked up under and I said, man, ain't nothing broke. I mean, I thought my rack and pinion was broke. And so I turned the truck off and turned the key to try to get the wheel to turn. And when we turned the key back on, the steering wheel jerked to the left. I mean, if you had your hands on the wheel, it'd probably broke your wrist. I mean, that son of a gun said, shoom. And he's like, dude, what in the hell? I said, damn, my truck's possessed. So I turned the truck back on. I turned it back on. And then the steering wheel was fine. So the Chevrolet place is right there across the street. So I called over there to the Chevrolet place, and I talked to my guy over there in the service department. And I told him what happened. He said, give me the... So he's got my truck and the thing. He pulled up, and he said, man, where you at? I said, I'm across the street at Harbor Freight. He said, you want me to come get it? You want to drive it? I said, no, I'll drive it across the street. And he said, there is a recall on the power system for the electric steering assist on those trucks. I said, yep. He said, they will go. He said, what did it do? And I told him, he said, where you at? I said, I told him what happened. He said, you're lucky you didn't. That's the luckiest y'all did. So I had him on speaker. I said, can you tell Asheboro PD? Because they right here. I mean, they wasn't going to write me a ticket. And they said, really? So they followed me over to, they give me a damn little police escort right over to the damn Chevrolet place. And they went in there and they fixed it. And we all learned something that day. I learned something. The law learned something. Everybody learned something that day. It was class day. Everybody learned something. So then I walked back. So they said they would fix it. So I walked back across the street. And I was working at the college at the time. So I walked back across the street and go to Harbor Freight. Went to Harbor Freight. And then I called one of my students. My students come get me and brought me back to school, and they fixed it. So I tell you this, the electric steering, I mean, it's all fine and good and everything, but when it goes bad, it goes bad. But back to the cop, he said, you throw it in park. I said, I throw this bitch in park and hit the mercy brake. And he said, yeah. I said, man, let me tell you what happened with my little Nissan. In 2000, I got a 2000 Nissan Frontier Crew Cab. Bought it brand new in 2000, right? Little bitty 3.3 V6 little thing, little Tonka truck. I still got it, right? I drive the shit out of it. I beat the hell out of it. It's got like 400-some thousand miles on it. And I was coming up the road, and it has cable throttle, right? Cable throttle. So I'm down in Southern Pines in Aberdeen, and it had snowed. It snowed a little bit, just a little bit. Not much, just a little bit, just a trace, right? So I'm coming up the road, and I'm driving, and I come out of Walmart, and I'm headed up to Lowe's, and all of a sudden, I let off the gas in my truck, and my truck kept going. And I was like, what? So here my brain thinks, it's cold, the gas cable, I went through water's got on. This is the difference between people that panic and the people that try to figure out something in a quick amount of time. So I had went through a bunch of water earlier, splash water. It was raining, slush, stuff like hit some water. So this is what I thought. When I went to mash the gas and I was going up the road running 20, 30 mile an hour, and I go to let off the gas, the truck don't stop. The truck's still going, like I'm still pushing on the gas pedal. So the first thing I did is look down and make sure the floor mat didn't get up under the pedal. It wasn't under the pedal. So I hit the gas again to see if it was whatever, stuck, or just to see, I did it like Elko did when he's patting on the carburetor. You know what I'm saying? I just pat it, pat. Right? All of a sudden, now this might save somebody's life. Listen to me now. Listen to me. Toyota was bad about this shit later on. But mine's cable driven, right? Cable driven, right? So I patted the gas again, and it sped up. The RPMs went up. So I'm on a straight stretch, right? Here we go. Damn truck ain't doing nothing, right? It ain't slowing down. So I jam on the brakes. Well, don't jam on. I bump the brakes. Truck it's still going, right? So I'm thinking to myself, this is what's happened. I run through some water. Now this happened within like 30 seconds to a minute. Probably not even that long. My brain said, okay, I went through some water. Water is splashed up on the cable. It is cold as it can be. And the water is froze over on the cable. The cable is froze and glazed over on the sheath, and the cable is not letting it slide back through inside itself, and therefore it's not letting off the throttle. That's what my brain was at, right? That's where my brain was at. Because if you all know, well, I'll go in here and show you on this truck right here, because this is cable driven. I'll show you let me turn this fan off and I'll show you. So this is what I was thinking in my brain in that split second. I was thinking that water had jumped up on this and froze over. So when the throttle was mashed, the cable was pulled, and when I let off the throttle, the pedal, the spring wasn't strong enough to pull it back to make it stop going, because I thought this had glazed over with ice, right? That's what I thought. Okay? That's what I thought would happen. So I bumped this bitch up in neutral, right? And it's the RPMs. I popped it back in drive. The RPMs went down. I kept bumping the throttle, bumping it in neutral and drive. And when it go back and drive, it'd spin like hell, right? So your pedal brakes, listen people, your pedal brakes apply pressure to your front wheel about 75 to 80%. It only allows about 15 to 20% brakes on the back wheel. So when you go to mash your brakes, you're putting all your pressure on the front wheels, not the back, right? So when you go to push your brakes, your front wheels lock up, right? That's why you skid, right? So what I did was I applied the brakes and pulled the e-brake at the same time. As I'm pulling the e-brake locks up the back brakes or puts pressure on them so they quit spinning. The engine revs up and I bump the front brakes. This all happened within like a minute. What I'm telling you, this is what happened. And then I rolled in the damn Zaxby parking lot. I popped that bitch in neutral and turned it off, right? And then when I turned it off, it stopped and I threw that bitch up in park. Well, Lord behold, Aberdeen PD was seeing me. They seen me because I was in the snow, and they seen that my truck looks like four-wheel drive, but it's not four-wheel drive at the time. So they thought I was being some crazy white boy, yeehaw, playing in the snow and spinning. So when they get up there, they's like, hey man, what's going on, blah, blah, blah. And I said, nothing much, man. He's like, what's going on? I said, nothing. He's like, hey man, you were spinning back there, you know, you're getting a little sideways and you coming in this parking lot a little fast. I said, yeah, something's wrong with my truck. And he said, what do you mean? I said, the damn throttle's stuck. And he said, what? And I said, the throttle's stuck. And he's like, really? And I said, yes, sir. I said, my throttle's stuck. And he said, well, let's check it out. So I popped the hood of the truck, and I told him as I'm going to the hood of the truck, give him my license, registration, all that bullshit, you know. Which you don't have to give him that shit, but just give it to him. You know, fuck it, just give it to him. So when we get there and we pop the hood of the truck, I thought that I was going to find out that this right here had ice on it and it was glazed over, right? No, that is not what happened. What happened was the wire had started coming apart and it was frayed, and when I went to mash the gas, the wire was hung up in the throttle cable. You cannot make this shit up. It was hung up in the throttle cable, and then I manually grabbed it and pulled it out, and you could see where the cable had frayed, like this right here. I got to put a button on this, right? I got to put a button on the end of that. But that's what the wire was looked like. It was unfrayed right there, and it was jammed up in the hole. You cannot make this shit up. And he's like, damn, dude. So I get in the truck, I fix it, I pull it out. I put it in park, I pull the e-brake, I crank the truck. I go to mash the pedal, and just to prove that, hey, that's what was going on. And when I run up the RPMs, about 1,800 RPMs, and then I let off the gas pedal. It never left. It stayed where it was at. It was kind of, and he said, dude, you're going to blow your truck up. And I said, fuck it, it's paid for. I turned it off, and I fixed it. I walked across the street to Pinehurst Toyota and bought a throttle cable, and the technician in there let me borrow some tools, and I changed the throttle cable in my 2000 Nissan in the damn parking lot of Zaxby's and fixed it. I tell y'all that to tell you this. shit will go awry and shit will break. Later on, a few years after that, y'all seen where Toyotas had problems where they would just accelerate and they wouldn't stop. They'd be on the bike. I think it was Toyota Corollas or some bullshit, whatever it was. You just see all this people getting killed and died and all this stuff. Car run away, you know, whatever. Let me tell you something. If those people, I'm not saying that they did or did not do anything, but this is me looking in. If those people, if I'm in a vehicle and it's a runaway and that son of a bitch is running away, let me tell you what's going to happen. You're going to see the back tires smoke because I'm going to pull the e-brake and I'm going to barrel that son of a bitch until that thing is smoking. I'm going to pop that bitch in neutral because they were saying, I couldn't turn my car off. 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 I'm gonna pull the e-brake. I'm gonna throw that bitch in neutral, and then I'm gonna turn it. I'm gonna let that somebody detonate. Yeah, and we finding a field to go through. So, if something happens in your vehicle, don't panic. Don't panic. I know it. And see, me, Tulu, 84, 87 SAS, other people, you know, that have been in the military look at things different. You know, when shit pops off, you know, we supposed to be calm, cool, and collective. So just be mindful. Hope for the best, plan for the worst. Right? That's what I always do with everything in my life. Hope for the best, plan for the worst. If anything pops off, stay cool about it, because when you lose focus and you panic, then you lose perception. You lose perception of what you're supposed to be doing, right? So if your car runs away, like takes off, just breathe, relax, pop that bitch in neutral, start pulling, use the e-brake. The e-brake runs the back tires. Pop that bitch in neutral and use the e-brake to stop. Don't use the foot brake, because the foot brake's what controls the front wheels. The front wheels is what controls your steering. Pop that bitch in neutral, because if you turn it off, then your power steering's not gonna work. You can't steer and you can't stop because you got your power brakes. So pop that bitch in neutral and use the e-brake to stop it and let that son of a gun take it to the ditch. And when you get to the ditch, throw that bitch up in park and let it detonate. But don't do it on the highway. Don't throw it in park on the highway. You will cause a bunch of problems. So try to get somewhere safe as you can. You know. Well, boys and girls, I've been 155 minutes. Ride that, yeah. White knuckle it, baby. White knuckle it. All right, boys and girls, I'm gonna get to sanding on my boy's truck. See if I can get some stuff sanded and go from there. I appreciate every single one of you. Hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell. Remember what I said, boys and girls. Don't worry about the man up the road or down the road. Sweep off your own front porch while sweeping off anybody else's. Put God first, like loose and drag.